If you're still interested in a smartwatch at this point, bless your soul. Android Wear is on hold pending its next big update, Pebble is dead, and the Apple Watch is...
Wait a minute, didn't I just record this intro?
I sure did, other me. A few weeks back, when Joshua Vergara and I were lining up our favorite wearables in the wake of the Pebble acquisition by Fitbit. But things have changed since then. My leading contender for a Pebble replacement got gobbled up, by Fitbit, of course. So I thought, well, Josh and I often agree on things. Why don't I take a closer look at his choice? I'm MrMobile, and I spent about a week with the Ticwatch 2, the smartwatch you tickle. Okay, the tickling bit sounds like a gimmick, and maybe it is a little bit, but it's also really useful. Rather than a digital crown or a smart bezel, the Ticwatch resurrects an old idea that I always found underrated: a touch-sensitive strip that lets you control some of the interface without obstructing the display with your finger. It works well on the Ticwatch 2, though the strip here isn't where you might expect. It's on the lower portion of the casing, closer to your wrist. While we're here, let's make something else clear. This watch is pretty thick. You need to be ready for that. Looking at it head-on, though, it's pretty attractive. I have the more expensive Onyx trim for review, with sapphire cover glass and metal band, and its minimalist restraint is refreshing. And Android is what's powering the on-screen experience here, specifically version 5.1 with a custom interface called Ticware riding on top. It's almost a blend of Apple's watchOS and Android Wear. I know that sounds like kind of a nightmare, but it's actually very usable. Notifications arrive with a buzz and a ding, and gather in a list you swipe up to see. You swipe down for widget versions of settings, health, weather, and other apps, and swipe left for a very simple app launcher. This all comes up on a fully round OLED screen that's plenty sharp and saturated, though I wish it got brighter outdoors. Swipe right, and you open up the watch's biggest standout: natural language search. Ask the watch to show you a local restaurant, and it gives you a few options, the highlights of which you can save to your widget list so you remember them later. Reminders, alarms, dictated replies, it's all here, and it works very well. This isn't surprising when you consider that the maker of the Ticwatch isn't just another anonymous company. It has deep ties to Google, having been founded by ex-Googlers and partially funded by Google as well. I should mention that I only used the Ticwatch 2 with Android phones. The iPhone does such a good job of crippling anything that's not an Apple Watch that I honestly didn't even bother. Other highlights range from the expected, built-in heart rate sensor and health tracking, to the delightful, built-in GPS and a preloaded memo function for quick voice notes. Voice calls through Bluetooth are also supported through the somewhat thin and tinny speakerphone. And yeah, other low points exist too. Battery life is nothing special, about a day and a half between recharges. And the so-called volcano charging pedestal looks and feels pretty chintzy. Also, the ecosystem is predictably thin, and the fact that you need to sideload an APK to shop the App Store feels... yuck. Finally, the watch is rated for IP65 ingress protection, which means it's completely sealed against dust, but only splash-proof. You can't take it swimming. The Ticwatch 2 starts at $199 for the Active Edition and goes up to $249 or $299 for the classic Oak and Onyx versions. You can look at that pricing in two ways. If you're not sold on smartwatches, this one isn't going to change your stance. You'll probably want to wait for the next generation of wearables, whenever that comes. If, on the other hand, you're already on board with the conveniences that smartwatches bring, however minor they may appear to skeptics, they do exist, and I like them quite a lot, then honestly, your options for an entry-level device are slimming by the day. The Ticwatch 2, with its minimalist looks, novel interface, and excellent voice commands, brings a lot of bang and performance for the buck. Buy it, before Fitbit does. The Samsung Gear S3, Apple Watch Series 2, and two versions of Casio's monster smartwatch, one thing they all have in common is that I've worn every one of them. Check out the MrMobile channel on YouTube for a closer look at these, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more mobile tech video landing every week. Until next time, thanks for watching. And stay mobile, my friends.